What's going on? What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to our Civics Saturday Night Live. My name is Talia. I just want to start off by saying y'all gonna have to bear with me. This is my first time doing the whole video setup by myself. So at this point, I don't know how this angle is going to look, but just bear with me. And to my cameraman, I need you next time around, please, sir. But again, my name is Talia. For those who don't know me, I am a community organizer, activist, socialpreneur, anything dealing with the development of my community and my people and our youth. I'm pretty much a part of it. I wear multiple hats. And speaking of, I am the curator of our Civics Night Live. And the whole purpose of this Civics Night Live is I felt the need to create a platform to explain to the community how they vote matter, how every election is important, because we often hear that but don't really know how it affects us. So I decided to create a platform for that, and thank you guys for joining in. So the last time we connect, it was right before the election, and we talked about what the midterm elections meant. We spoke about the seats that was up for election and their roles. We also talked about how each elected official affects the issues that on a state and federal level, how that affects us. We talked about folks being angry, so getting organized, this whole blue wave that everybody's hearing. We talked about how strength is in numbers. We spoke about what Congress is. And again, that was all before the November's election. So here we are, 2 weeks later, a week and a half later after the election. And I know you guys are watching the news and seeing all of the results and all of that fun stuff, right? So for this session, I pretty much wanted to talk about some of the results from the election. And so I didn't want to deep dive too deep into the numbers. Just wanted to give you an outline of like what happened. So if you guys do want to hear of numbers, I will be going live tomorrow night as well. So please DM me and I will break it down in those terms. But anyway, so we talk about Congress, right? Congress is made up of two chambers, our U.S. House of Reps and our U.S. Senate, right? And so these are people that represent us on the federal level in the White House. And so right now we have, so before the election, we spoke about how folks identify with a particular political party, right? And they identify with this party because of their beliefs and their morals. And so right now what we had was this one group of people making decisions for everybody. They had numbers, they had power in numbers, so they had control. So post-election, what has happened is the Democrats has won the U.S. House of Reps. And again, those are our Congress people, like Maxine Waters in California, like Dwight Evans here in Pennsylvania. And so what that means is now we have a checks and balance system in the White House on the federal level, because we don't just have one party or one group of people making all the decisions. We have two. We have some control. So the Democrats has took over the U.S. House of Reps. This actually has not happened since 2010. The Democrats has not had control over the House since 2010. So that's a prime example of folks getting angry. And so they got organized. And that was the end result, right? So now, like I said, we have some checks and balances. Each legislation or policy that gets passed has to go through the House and the Senate. So with that being said, when we have unethical or immoral policies being put on the table, we now have, two groups of people with two different morals and values to make sure that things are ethical, right? That it's for the people, for the betterment of the people, that it makes sense and things of that sort. So the U.S. So again, the Democrats has won the House. So folks should feel relieved, and not just because of a particular political party, but because they know this group of people is supposed to identify to be for the people. So Stacey Abrams said, don't vote for me because this was, the black woman that was running for governor in Georgia. And she said, don't vote for me because I'm black. Don't vote for me because I'm a woman. Don't vote for me because I'm a Democrat. Vote for me because I'm better. And so that stood out to me because I'm a firm believer of that. We should be voting for people because of the policies that they stand for, that their platform that they push, and not really because of what they look like or what they're supposed to identify as, right? So anyway, we should feel some type of relief on the fact that we do have some control in the U.S. House. So though the Democrats did not win the Senate, we did make a lot of noise in the Senate. We did make a lot of noise in government races, and we talked about before how your government is basically like your president of your state. And so we've seen like some miraculous things happening nationwide. We've seen people of color running like never before, a booming number. We've seen a booming number of women running like never before. We've seen African Americans in particular coming out to run for office like never before. And we even seen super conservative states like Texas and Arizona have some competition with the Democratic Party. So again, that's just letting us know that people are understanding, they're coming around, and they're understanding that what's better for the people, right? Not even necessarily trying to identify with a particular party. So speaking of, here in Pennsylvania, my hometown, we have won 9 congressional seats, which is one of the largest in history. The governor has won by a large margin in PA history, and we have a record of women in Congress in PA history. We now have 4 women representing Congress in Pennsylvania. So you guys just keep an eye out for what's happening. Again, I'll be going live again tomorrow on Sunday. I can deep dive into some numbers, what that looks like. But just remember, it's not about the elected officials. It's about the policies and the agendas that they push. What's right, what affects our community. And remember that politics is local. So this last midterm election is about the popular vote. So it's about whatever voters wanted, whoever voters voted for, that's who we're in office, right? It's not like the presidential election where you had this electoral college. And so, because a lot of people were discouraged of that. I seen after the election, I seen a lot of posts of people posting some things. They just, they don't have any belief in the system. And I don't blame y'all. I really don't. We know how the system is. We know the system wasn't built for people that look like us, that come from communities that we come from, so why should we trust it, right? But I'm also a firm believer of being the change you want to see. And so I believe that it's a different disposition right now in the world. And certain things that was happening before isn't happening now. And again, a prime example is like what we just seen. They say female is the future. We've seen that in politics. We've seen the booming number of women, in politics running, whether they won or not. They still ran. A lot of them did win. And so the last thing I probably really want to talk on is ballot questions. So each election, we have questions. These questions are based on policies that affect our communities, that us as the voter have control over, right? And again, I know it's a lot of disbelief in the system, but a prime example of that is in Florida. So voter laws are state laws, and every state, it varies. So in Pennsylvania, you can be a convicted felon and you can vote. But in Florida, prior to the November's election, that wasn't the case. Felons could not vote. So now we're talking about post-election. One of the ballot questions was about felons being able to get their voter rights restored. Florida voters voted for that, and now in Florida, if you're a felon, you can now vote, which it should be because they tax dollars, they still take their tax dollars, right? So why shouldn't they have a right to say where their tax dollars go or policies that they believe in? So I just wanted to, again, y'all know how I am. I like to keep it nice, brief, and short. This will be posted on our page for the next 24 hours. If you didn't catch our prior videos, please go back and watch it on Facebook. I will be posting this on Instagram TV as well. But just wanted to break it down, like what happened on a national level post-election and also what happened here in Pennsylvania post-election. And just pay attention to the ballot questions. And I'll be doing my best to make sure that before the election roll around, I start breaking down them questions. All right, so thank y'all for joining. Check us out tomorrow for Civics Sunday Night Live. Peace out, be careful, be safe. Peace and blessings.